Good morning, everybody. It is 5 a.m. on Thursday, February 15th. Been up since a little after 2, but my husband is dealing with some really severe vertigo, and yesterday we went to see a therapist to move around his ear crystals to fix it. And so afterwards, he's not supposed to lie flat, especially on his left side. And so he's sleeping in the recliner. And I usually wake up around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't wake up till 8 or 9. So I'm grounded to my bedroom till he wakes up. Because, like, the thing that I hate more than anything else in the world is waking people up. That is my absolute biggest dislike. I do not like to do it. But it is also hard to stay in my bedroom for hours and hours and hours. But I want him to get better. We don't get normal stuff. We get these really weird things, but apparently he's not the only one, because the clinic where they fix it is really busy. It's called a Hearing and Balance Center. So yeah, I guess there are other people that suffer from it too, but I never heard of ear crystals until my husband's went out of whack, and he has to get them fixed at least once or twice a year. It's crazy. So I want to talk about keto. I have been really frustrated lately with my diabetes because my morning blood sugars a couple of days were over 200, and I wasn't cheating. I wasn't eating carbs. And it's so frustrating because it's just because I'm diabetic and my diabetes is really difficult to control. And I take insulin and I eat a ketogenic diet, and I still get high blood sugars. My first reaction is like, I should have had a donut if my glucose is going to be that high, right? But I know that if I did eat a donut, then it would be over 300. So I don't do that. I did see my endocrinologist this week, and he increased my insulin, which is frustrating because that makes it even harder to lose weight. But this year, I'm deciding that my focus, instead of being on losing weight, I mean, I still want to lose weight, but it's going to be a bonus. My focus this year is on not cheating on the holidays. Basically not finding excuses to cheat. And holidays are a really good excuse because it's culturally acceptable. I mean, you can tell anybody, hey, it's Valentine's Day, I deserve some chocolate. And most people are not going to argue with you. But I do keto for my health, not for weight loss. And what motivates me is that I want to live. And so I'm going to use that motivation because what happened to me before is on Halloween, I was like, I can have one piece of candy. Well, maybe two. Next thing I know, I've eaten, I don't even know how many pieces of candy I ate out of the candy bucket when I was passing out Halloween candy. And I never got back on track until January 19th. Because October, November, December, even though I'm not going to work, it seemed like there were opportunities everywhere. Every time I would go to the grocery store, there's eggnog, I have to get eggnog. Or, I don't know, just tons of excuses for cheating. So this year, my focus is not to find excuses to cheat. And that's a big deal. I think that's going to be a major obstacle to overcome. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is I have a really good friend, and she asked me, what is keto? So I am making this video for her. So the reason that I found out about keto is because I had a problem earlier this year. I actually got hospitalized for lactic acidosis that was caused by metformin. And whatever's going wrong with me, nobody understands it, but I'm developing intolerances to prescription medications. I had like 4 or 5 at the beginning of the year, and now I can't tell you my drug allergies without pulling out a list. I mean, it's literally a list. There's probably 30 on there. And so all the oral diabetic medications are now on that list. I even had an injectable one by Durion that sent me to the emergency room. And so fortunately, I do tolerate insulin. And so I am taking a long-acting, which is Tresiba, and I'm also taking the short-acting Novolog. So I inject myself several times a day to check my glucose and then to inject my insulin. I've developed a phobia of needles over the past year, and so I have a lot more understanding for people that have that phobia. I never had it before, but now oh, it's awful. I'm tired of being poked, but I have no choice. So, there was a brief period of time at the beginning of last year where I just wouldn't take any prescription medication because I was afraid. I actually had a phobia for a short period of time of prescription medications. And so I was trying to figure out how to control my diet without medication. And control my diabetes, not my diet. And I found a Facebook group that told me about the ketogenic diet. Since left that group because they were too tough for me. I don't do well with the tough love. I like soft, mushy stuff. But I learned a lot from them, and I'm very grateful for that. And so what is keto? Keto is actually a diet that was developed in the early 1900s to help children with epilepsy. And they found that it was very helpful for them. I think it was like in the 1910s or something. And then around 1921, somebody discovered that it was good for diabetes. And so that's pretty cool. But because of the discovery of medications for epilepsy and diabetes, the ketogenic diet kind of disappeared. And then, oh gosh, I can't remember why, but in 1994 something happened. Somebody was like, hey, look at this cool diet. And so it started to regain popularity. I can't remember why, but so it's really awesome for me since I can't handle the oral diabetic medications, and my diabetes is really difficult to control. Nobody knows why. And so with the ketogenic diet, the way I've learned it, it seems like there are various ways to do it, but I'm just going to tell you what I know, and you guys are welcome to disagree. But the way I learned it is you're basically trying to eliminate carbohydrates from your diet. There are 3 macros in the diet. You have carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And I learned that with a lot of diets, you're reducing the carbohydrates and the fats. And the problem with that is that you don't get satisfied. You just feel like you're starving. And some people have really good success. I am not one of those people. If I feel like I'm deprived, I am going to binge. And I know I'm an emotional eater. I know I'm a binge eater. I have fought with eating disorders. Well, since I was in middle school, I had anorexia. And I fought with bulimia, and binge eating has lasted the longest. I'm most faithful to that eating disorder. And but with keto, so how do you cut out carbs? Let me go back to that. So the way I do it is I just eat accidental carbohydrates. So we need vegetables, right? Because there are essential vitamins in our vegetables. There are carbohydrates in vegetables, but that's okay. The only vegetables that I cut out are the starchy ones. So I don't eat peas, corn, carrots, and so most of my vegetables are green. I eat a lot of broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus. I still eat artichokes. And then some people say no tomatoes, but I'm sorry, I can't live without tomatoes, so I eat tomatoes. You're not supposed to eat fruit. And then no grains, so no wheat, rice, oatmeal, any of that stuff. No beans, and that includes peanuts, which are legumes. And so I can't list everything I'm not allowed to eat because I can't remember that well. But yeah, that's the premise of it. So I'm not really good at charting what I eat. That's something else I want to learn, but that's like secondary to not finding excuses right now. And so what I'm doing right now is because my binging, if I feel deprived, I'm going to binge. I guess I already said that. And so right now I'm not restricting my calories. I'm just focusing on not eating things that I'm not supposed to eat. And the way that keto works is it's low carbohydrate, so you don't eat more than 20 grams of carbohydrates a day. And then moderate protein and high fat. And the fat is what makes you feel satisfied. And even though I use heavy whipping cream and butter, and any dairy products I get are full fat, or any cuts of meat I get, I try to get the fattest ones. I have a hard time meeting the fat macro. But I'm doing my best. So hopefully that answers your question about what is keto. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please like and subscribe, and I'm gonna try to be more regular about posting. So I hope you all have an awesome day. Bye. I was just editing and I need to make a major correction, and the only way I can figure out how to do that was to add something at the end. So lactic acidosis and all that stuff I talked about was not earlier this year. It was 2017. So I had all of that journey 2017. And then I did do the keto diet for a while with no drugs, and discovered I cannot control my diabetes with diet alone. And so I allowed the endocrinologist to put me on insulin. And then I gradually baby stepped my way back to taking only essential prescription drugs. So part of staying alive, I do need prescription medication, but I'm very choosy and I'm very careful when I try new drugs. And one thing I wanted to add about the ketogenic diet, so the concept, which I left out, so important, is that when you cut out carbohydrates from your diet, your body learns to burn fat for fuel instead of carbohydrates. And so it burns the fat that you eat, and it burns the fat that's stored in your body. And so that's where the weight loss comes in. And healthy people have amazing success. And those of us that are sick, it helps to fight inflammation, which is a big problem with a lot of my health conditions. And it does make you healthier, even if you're like me and it's not like a cure. It really does help. Okay, so I think that's all for today. This is longer than I like to make my videos, but I thought those were important to add in. Have a great day, guys.